Welcome to Fool's Ball, where everybody here qualifies for the North Korea Olympic flag football team. And the star flanker of the North Korean flag football team is to my left here, Neckbeard. And the star tight end is over here, Greengrass. We've selected our own fantasy, NFL flag football Olympic teams of NFL team members, and the media and other people have put Patrick Mahomes and all these people on their teams, and we thought it was trash. We're like,
yeah.
Are you really gonna have 48-year-old Patrick Mahomes running around back there? No, you're not. It's flag football, okay? It's real stuff. Neckbeard, we're gonna look at these three teams that were created. What's your big takeaway going into looking at these teams that is important to think about with fantasy flag football?
So what I learned about flag is that, obviously we're used to NFL football where size and strength are important, and that doesn't matter as much in flag. It's all about speed and agility. So you'll see that in my team. I went full speed and agility. It's just a very different kind of game with different kind of rules, and everyone thinks the quarterback can't run, but there's ways around that. So we're going to get into all the rules and explain it. But I think it's going to be really interesting, and I think the flag football team is going to be a lot different than what people think, and probably even what we think today.
It probably, by the time the Olympics come around, things will change. Half the players might not even be playing in the NFL anymore. Who knows? Injuries, whatever, all kinds of stuff could happen. Or players from the past that are already retired could come back and play. Like Donald Driver might come. Who knows? Anything could happen.
I'd love to see Donald
Michael
Driver
Vick.
play.
Michael Vick could play for the team North Korea. You know what I mean?
He's already been asked.
Yep. Dave Greengrass, Chief over here on this side of me. You have a slightly different philosophy. What is your big thought process? What's the most important thing when you're developing a flag football team?
Oh, it's all about meat and potatoes. You just got to move those chains. Like my offensive line coach used to say in high school, if you guys push and you get me 3.5 yards per carry, we run a three downs, you get a first down every time, touchdown every drive. That's what it's all about. Leave the flash, whatever. Flash fizzles out.
Chief might not know it takes 40 yards or so to get a first down, but 10 yards is good. We'll let him get 10 yards.
Nobody told him that offensive linemen are banned from flag football as well. So, you're just not allowed to play.
I remember once you said, make sure you have a center. You got to have a center to snap the ball. You know what I mean? Yeah, let's do that.
Well, my freshman year, funny story. They had me playing center. My sister had no interest in football up until then. So parents forced her to go to a game. And so she's sitting there after the first quarter, and Dad goes, so what do you think? And she goes, so let me get this right. So one guy walks up to another guy, tickles his butt, and then that guy gives him the ball, so he leaves him alone. And my brother's the one who's getting his butt tickled.
Yep.
Dad said, that's my daughter. The next year, I shifted out to left tackle.
Yeah. Smart.
the next team at left tackle. Well, in flag football, the ball is snapped, but you can kind of toss it back, a shotgun, whatever. Yeah. And we're going to go over kind of how flag football works first, I guess. Maybe we should talk about the rules, right?
Let's break down the rules, guys. Let's talk about how it's different than the NFL. Hype, will you show the presentation? There we go.
There we go, the presentation.
All right. So here's the rules, guys. 10 players per team, 5 on the field. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean 5 offensive and 5 defense. You got to switch guys out on both sides, right? So keep that in mind. There's a lot of running in flag football. It's very fast. There isn't 15 seconds between every play or 40 seconds, right? This game moves quick.
It feels more like soccer than almost football does.
You're going to get gassed fast. So the field is smaller, though. So 70 yards long, 25 yards wide. So less than half of the 53-yard NFL field, but still a lot of running. Keep that in mind. It's a 40-minute game with 2 20-minute halves, and there isn't a bunch of timeouts and stoppages, guys. It goes quick. So 4 downs to reach midfield and 4 downs to score. So basically, you got to go 50 yards, once you get past the halfway mark to get to, 35 yards to get a first down is ideally what it is on the 70-yard field. And you can't run the ball within the 5 yards of the end zone. And in flag football, there's not a ton of running anyway, so running backs maybe not be as prevalent. And then overtime score is tied with each team getting equal chances to win. So a little bit like college overtime, guys. If you're
you do get a choice between a 1 or a 2-point conversion. The 2-point conversion starts further back.
Yes, that's correct. And that can make a difference too. So let's go to the next slide. That's the basics, right? That's the basics of the size of the field. Here's a lot more details, guys. There's a ton here, but this is important, okay? So a forward pass can be thrown after a backwards pass, as long as the pass is thrown behind the line of scrimmage. But you can't throw any backward passes past the line of scrimmage. So no laterals or nothing like that. Now, everybody was freaking out because the quarterback can't run. Well, the quarterback doesn't have to take the snap. Whoever receives the snap can't run. That doesn't mean they can't pitch it back to a quarterback or throw it back to a quarterback or hand it off to a guy who can throw, and then that guy can throw. So there's a lot of trick plays and different things that can happen in flag football that don't happen in the NFL, okay? So 1 forward pass per play, right? But unlimited backward passes. You just have 7 seconds to throw that forward pass or to run past the line of scrimmage. So it's a 7-second rule. And the QB, as we said, can't run after receiving the snap, but the person who receives the snap doesn't necessarily have to be the QB. That's something to really keep in mind.
And that's the thing too, is that 7-second rule, it makes you incentivize you to toss the ball to someone else real quick. And like, say Lamar Jackson's to the side, give him the ball. Cause then there's no rules. He can sit back there all day.
Yeah.
And just run around.
Yeah. And you got 7 seconds. And if you can't run, you have to throw the ball, right? If you're the guy that got the snap, you have to throw it. So it's also incentivizes you to maybe have other guys that can throw, multiple guys that can throw.
That's why I'm saying you just toss it back to someone else. They can sit back there all day if they want to.
Yeah. And you can run all kinds of crazy stuff. So here's something else about the pass rush, guys. So the pass rusher starts 7 yards back from the line of scrimmage, and you're not allowed to block them. They get a free run. So as soon as the height goes, boom, they run toward who's ever got the ball.
And they have to hold their hand up to indicate.
Yeah, they do have to hold their hand up. They do, that they're the one rushing. But there's one designated pass rusher, but no one blocks them.
And so they have to rush, though. If they put their hand up,
they have to rush. That is correct. If they put their hand up, yes. And you have to have a designated rusher. So, but since no one's blocking you, like pass rush moves and size and strength mean nothing. It's all about speed. So keep that in mind,
you can have up to 2 rushers. I mean, it would be stupid to rush everyone.
Yes,
and people
you can have up to 2. They have to raise their hands and they have to tell you that they're rushing before the snap. So a maximum of 2 designed rushers may legally rush the quarterback. All rushers must identify themselves with their hand raised until the snap and then rush legally from 7 yards. So you cannot raise your hand if you're in front of that 7
But also, if you do pitch it from the quarterback to another guy, any defender then can come across the line and do whatever.
That is correct.
All the rules are just gone.
Correct. All rules are out once the person who receives the snap either hands it off or tosses it. Everybody can then come. So that's something to think about too, if they do pitch it or if they do handoffs or things like that. So once the ball's handed off, pitched or thrown backwards by the offense, all defenders are eligible, like we said. And then here's the big thing, guys, that you'll see if you start watching flag football is that interceptions are huge. So in these 35 yards where you have to get a first down or a touchdown, if you fail or turn over on downs, because there's no punts, guys, you get the ball. The other team gets the ball on their own 5-yard line. So it doesn't matter if they're on their own 10 and they lose their down and distance, then you go all the way to the other end of the field and start at your 5. Where if it's an interception, you start wherever the player who intercepted the ball is either taken down by a flag or goes out of bounds or gets a pick 6, which the USA team loves to do right now. Pick 6s are absolutely huge. Interceptions are huge. And they're returnable, obviously, for 6 points. And then you can do the 1 or 2 point
Once
conversion.
the end of the game comes and people start getting tired, quarterbacks, I notice in flag football, start getting tired in their brain. They make bad decisions. And once they get in the red zone, there's pick 6s left and right. You think you're about to score and boom, Team USA just runs it back.
Which is maybe why you want a couple different quarterback options too. If a guy gets tired, you want to switch people out. Again, guys, this is more of a sprint than a marathon like the NFL game, right? Like this is fast.
Is it 2 20-minute halves, I think, or 12-minute halves?
2 20-minute halves. Yeah. So 40 minutes. So the ball's dead when it hits the ground or the player's flag is taken. All offensive football penalties result in loss of down and yardage. And all defensive penalties result in an automatic first down. So keep that in mind.
And I think if the offensive player with the ball falls over, then the play's blown dead, I think.
I don't know that rule for sure, Doug. I don't think so. I mean,
I'm not sure if they're going to carry that over, but when I watched, that did happen where if they just fell over, the play was dead, but that might not be part of the official rules.
Yeah, and there's a lot to come, guys, because this is going to be, the first Olympics. So I think they're going to come out with a clear set, but this is how the international rules are set right now. The USA just won the last tournament based basically on these rules, using a lot of speed and using a guy that maybe is not the biggest guy playing quarterback, but we'll get to that. So let's go to the next slide, guys, so we can kind of break down positions. So on the offensive side, you have the quarterback, the person who receives the snap from the center. So the center is not snapping it through their legs. They're just throwing it to the side, and it could be any player. of, with any skill set. And as soon as they snap it, they can run out and they can go catch passes and do whatever. And then you've got either 3 wide receivers or 2 wide receivers and a running back in the backfield. On the defensive side, you got 2 DBs, 2 safeties, and then the designated rusher that, as you can see, starts farther back than the cornerbacks. The DBs can get right up there near the line of scrimmage. The rusher has to be 7 yards back. And again, they have to designate themselves. So if you have 2 rushers, you'll probably have 2 guys right around that 7-yard mark, and then maybe a deep safety center, and then the 2 DBs. So there's not a ton of like zone guys in flag football. It's a lot of man on man because it's just too easy to get open too fast on zones. And there's a lot of quick guys everywhere. So remember, no offensive line. The pass rusher cannot be blocked. The quarterback cannot run, or whoever receives the snap cannot run, but you can hand off, you can pitch as many times as you want in that 7 seconds. And then as soon as you pitch, everybody can rush. And a lot of people are going to be playing man on man, a lot of man on man. Okay?
There's going to be zone sometimes in short distances and whatever, or just to shake it up and
like
trick
goal
you.
Line and things like that.
Because the thing about it, if your blitzer, if your rusher can get there quickly, a zone might be smart, right? Make the quarterback make a decision.
Right. Exactly. So this is where it's different, guys. There's no blocking, right? There's no blocking involved. Everyone's running around as fast as they can. And speed, agility, and length, as Doug has been saying, length is a big thing. Long arms.
And they're not wearing pads, so it's really hard to jam somebody. It's not like a big padded up guy. If you want to jam or whatever, like they're probably going to just run by you.
Yep, exactly. So you want quick guys that can play multiple positions. So here's the thing too, guys, is that a lot of people assume you're going to have 5 offensive and 5 defensive players. I mean, most flag football teams don't run it that way. And you're going to have to substitute guys in and out once they get gas because they are running so much. So you got to have people that can play different positions, different sides of the field. And, an obvious name comes to mind that just got drafted this year. But what do you think, guys? What do you think about the positions, and how do you think that's going to affect the team selection?
Well, I know Dave's going to have an actual center in there. He's probably going to have like a Kearns.
Olin Kreutz comes out of retirement just to play.
He never retired.
He never did. He never left your brain. That's
someone from the Bears in the 90s will come back. He'll be 50 years old playing center.
Hey, man, Jim McMahon's out there. Somebody give him a call.
This is the thing that gets me excited, guys. Like, this is a whole new frontier. This is kind of like ultimate frisbee soccer version of football, but you still have to have actual football skills like length, catching ability, like laying out for catches, diving catches, like Jordy Nelson style. Those like deep, like he would have been perfect for this. Maybe he'll come out of retirement. The toe sideline catches, all the like super crazy, like in Madden when it says spectacular catch as a rating, that spectacular catch rating will matter way more in this because you're going to be having guys covering you that are good. A lot of the deep passes I see in Team USA, even though they're fantastically good, the guys are covered, but the ball is just right there, right in their hand, just past the defender, and they're diving for that ball. So it's a lot of really highlight reel type stuff here. So you want guys that are superstars, not just fast, that can do all this stuff. And that doesn't mean that they're only a cornerback or a wide receiver. A tight end could be good at that. If you watch Team USA right now, they have guys playing wide receiver that are tall and don't seem to be super elite fast, and they are making big plays. They are making really big plays with their length. And so when I look at these positions here, the key to me is like, how do I get those superstar catches? How do I get players that can make those big catches and keep them fresh so they can make those huge plays later in the game? And if they're playing defense too, that's going to wear them out a little bit. And then, so how do you do that? How do you have a team where you rotate people around between these like different positions and keep them super fresh and as fast as possible? And 25 minutes, 30 minutes in the game, are you still able to make those long diving, crazy catches and have the focus to do that? Because that's really going to matter in this. It's all about precision and speed. And where are you going to put those guys? What are you going to do? Are your DBs going to be guys that also play wide receiver, and maybe Travis Hunter or somebody can do that? Maybe they can keep up and have their endurance, but you need to have that precision and things, because dude, like by the time the Olympics come around, other countries are going to be practicing and they're going to be better. So Austria is number 2 in the world right now. And there's like 5 minutes at a time in the game where they can keep up with Team USA. That might change. They might be able to Team Mexico in the women's side is just as good as Team USA almost, right? So And like the girl that plays quarterback from Team Mexico, she was the poster girl for all of women's flag football in the world. So teams will catch up, and we're going to have to figure out, it's kind of like basketball, right? Where other teams figured out, how can we beat Team USA? We're going to be doing it with like, pick and rolls and shooting threes and Euro steps. It's going to be interesting to see how people approach these situations at DB and wide receiver. Like, what are the strategies?
Hell yeah. What about you, Chief? What are you excited about? What stands out to you about, like, just what's weird here? What's going to change as far as like NFL versus flag?
I like the fact that the field's only it's less than half as wide. It's only 25 yards. You don't have less than half the amount of people, but the spacing is going to be phenomenal, because in football, you have the linemen, they kind of jam up the middle. Removing that aspect, it feels like it's a lot more spacious, so you get to be a lot more creative with the routes. You can do a lot more with the screens and whatnot. Not everything has to be a fly route and whatnot. And that's part of the planning, is where you have some crossers, maybe you just want to do a curl. It's just a whole lot of options. I love the idea of, the laterals, the passes before you do the forward pass. You can go absolutely haywire here. This would be Chip Kelly's dream, honestly.
Yeah.
He'd be an ideal coach to see what he could draw up some of the more creative guys.
You're right, Dave.
There.
Crosses are huge. Like crossing routes and ins and outs are like.
And I noticed too, when I was watching some of the highlights in games, like they'll scrunch everybody in together in the middle of the field. So there'll be like 3 guys on the line right next to each other. They don't spread it out, because then that just that cuts off half the field for them. If they're starting in the middle, they got any which way that they can go, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like they're actually not going to have this like NFL style spread them out to like the edges of the field kind of like game. You almost want to start everybody in the middle so that you don't know if they're going left or right. Because if you start on the far right side, you only really have 2 directions to go, straight or to the left, right? So
and where do you play these safeties? Because if you play these safeties deep or whatever and cover a guy, then underneath they can do whatever they want. They can have a guy back there running with the ball, hand it off or whatever. So a lot of times there's like a rover, a joker, whatever you want to call it, that comes up there and plays like, that short 0 to 4 yard area. Just, you know what I mean? And then, but so deep routes are open. If you can get a guy that's 6'7" to run deep, because they're not playing 2 shell, you can't do that. You've got 2 agile guys in the backfield. So it makes it crazy exciting. It's like a game of hyper fast chess of like, where do you put your guys? How do you, so I guess if you have, let's say, for example, the center snaps the ball, the center actually runs back to stand next to the quarterback and to act as the running back. Then as a rusher, do you continue to rush? Or do you run or hold back and you play like kind of like a back safety zone, or you rush and have a safety come up and like make sure there's 2 guys up there for that like running back, right? So like, do you match up like that? Do you hold guys back? That's the question in the chess moves, because if you make the wrong move and they slip past you, boom, it could be easy touchdown.
Yeah.
And this also kind of goes into the construction of your team. Do you want to have, like you mentioned before, possibly have 2 quarterbacks out there on the field? Do you want to have 2 fast, really agile quarterbacks, or do you rather have one that could possibly be a runner and then have one that was like Aaron Rodgers was 5-10 years ago, where he has the touch? He might not be able to sprint and get you 10 or 15 yards if he gets a handoff, but he can drop that perfect over the shoulder pass to somebody who's, if you have everyone else coming up to the middle, then you just have this one guy kind of doing an out route where the accurate quarterback can hit that. He doesn't have the flexibility of running.
That's the thing, Dave. When someone's rushing, if you've got a rusher who's 6'4", 6'5", and you have your hands up, you can't throw a dart with your normal whatever, like to a guy in a short yardage. You got to like throw it around him, or you have to have like a quick release and just like kind of wing it out there.
Right.
So,
you see how you're trying to throw like Caleb Williams right there?
Yeah. That's exactly. That's my Caleb Williams impression. But that's the thing, is that like you have to have guys that can throw off platform on different platforms. You have to have the ability to just like flick that ball, and the Team USA can do that. Those guys, the guys that are playing in this league, they can just kind of like zip that ball quick, because you've got hands like this up in your face that's coming right at you. So like you can't just
there's no clean pocket. There's no pocket quarterbacks. Like you can't be a pocket quarterback. You cannot. Nope. It just doesn't exist. So let's get into the teams, guys, and see what we think based on all of the things we just said. What do we think the team should look like? So here's Team Neckbeard. So there's a theme here, and it's speed and agility, folks. I don't care about size. I don't care about strength. Yes, tall guys are great. I want agility, agility, agility. Jaden Daniels, super quick and agile. Kyler Murray might be dominant in flag football. And then I'm going to throw out a shout out to Daryl Doucette. the third there, who is right now the best flag football player in the world, quarterback for Team USA. I put him on the team. Dude's 5'7", and he dominates. Do you know what I'm saying? Because he's quick and he's fast and he's agile and he's smart. And I put him on the team because not only does this guy know how flag football works, but like I went for substitutions. I don't want guys that play just offense or just defense. I want athletes who are quick, who can play other positions. So the reason I started Jaden at quarterback is I think he's got the best arm of him and Kyler. And I think Kyler, being a baseball player, is good at catching. He's really agile and quick. So I want him back there as a running back, quarterback, maybe even playing the center position there. And like, I want Team USA to screw with teams and have these three quarterbacks in the backfield all at once, or moving around, or like you don't know who's going to get the ball, or pitching it back to somebody else who can throw it. Because remember, guys, just the person who receives the snap can't run. You can have Jaden Daniels can receive the snap and just toss it.
Are you
right
going to have like a
Kyler
team A and
Murray.
team B? Do you have like what's like the starting five to put out there on the first?
On
play?
offense, it would be the top five guys. So Jaden, Kyler, Justin, Jameer, and Malik would be my five guys. And
So
I probably
on
have
defense, who would be your starting five guys to start
on defense? I would probably have I would do set on defense. I'd probably have Kyler out there, honestly. Maybe as the rusher. Maybe he's a little too small for that, or maybe even Malik Neighbors as the rusher. And then obviously Travis, Sauce, Hamilton, and Dijon. And you can see I went all defensive backs here, guys. I went all guys that can get me interceptions, that can go and take that ball back, because I think interceptions are such a huge part of this game. And we got four guys that can catch. Hamilton 6'4", Sauce is like almost 6'4", Cooper's taller, Travis is a smaller guy, but super, super talented, and we know he's got good hands, right? And that's the other reason why I didn't go a lot of running backs here. The only one I took was Gibbs, just because of his agility. But like, I want receivers playing on defense too, because I want Justin Jefferson going out there playing defense, jumping up for balls and snagging them, right? Same thing with Malik Neighbors. And so I went for just a team that's going to drive you crazy with their speed and agility, because they're going to run around you, they're going to confuse you, and they've got great hands, and they're going to just throw the ball all over the field super quick. You're never going to get a chance to touch them, is basically my idea. They're going to be faster than you, and they're going to be quicker and more agile than you. And I think Kyler Murray might be just unstoppable in flag football. If you watch
the question, can you sneak past guys with your quick moves? And like, there's actually, if you watch the championships from like 2 years ago, like they have these crazy moves where they flip their hips around, they do a spin move, and they're just trying to make it so it's hard for you to grab that. One guy did a move where he's running, he caught the ball, brought it down, and he started running really low to the ground, almost like a duck walk. And they went to grab the flags, and he was underneath their arms. And it looked so weird. It did not look like it worked, but it worked. And the replay just looked amazing. You're like, how did he do that? How did he make this weird agile play to get low? And that's kind of part of the tricks.
And what I want to see too is not just 5 offensive and 5 defensive players. I want all these guys to play on both sides of the ball, no doubt. Like, I want guys to get breathers. So like maybe the first 3 drives, I put my starting offense out and my starting defense out. But then after that, I switch a couple of guys out, let them sit for a drive, and then put them in and take somebody else out, because I want them all to get breathers. But yeah, my main thing here is I want ball skills and agility. The reason I went with Hamilton is because he's got amazing ball skills. He could also be the rusher because he's so tall. And then if he does drop out, he can cover anybody, right? He's not maybe the fastest guy, but I think versatile-wise on defense, he's maybe the most versatile player. Same thing with Cooper DeJean. Dude, Cooper DeJean could play running back for you. He was awesome at punt returns and kick returns. He could, I bet he could throw the football. Like, I want guys that can do everything. I don't want to fit guys in holes. I want guys that are super versatile. Travis Hunter's obvious, right? Because he plays both. But I imagine the reason I didn't go with like guys like Jamar Chase or CeeDee Lamb or things like that is I kind of wanted to go for guys that like have the ability to play defense as well. And I feel like Neighbors would be into it. I don't know why, but I feel like Neighbors would love playing defense and going for picks. Same thing with Jefferson, who, by the way, Justin Jefferson has been pushing for this for a long time. He's really wanted this to happen. So like, I think he's almost a shoo-in. I think Kyler, if he doesn't play for Korea, should be a shoo-in. Like, I love Joe Burrow. He's amazing. Josh Allen is amazing. They have no business on a flag football field. They have no business.
Josh Allen might be able to like play a little bit, but he's just not going to be like.
He's lumbering.
He's too big and slow. Same thing with Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is agile for an NFL quarterback, but nowhere near what Kyler Murray or Jaden Daniels is. Like
But with
Jalen
him, it's just
Hurts.
those slots. He can throw from every angle around and whatnot.
And that he could, but I want a guy that can make 2 or 3 people miss. Like, and that's what Kyler and Jaden do. And they're both like Jaden's slim and Kyler's small. I mean, again, Daryl Doucette, 5'7", and he's just winging it out there. Best player in the world right now.
Well, that's the thing too, is a quarterback, Jaden Daniels, if he's what, 6'4", if you're rushing him and he's so tall, he can throw pretty much almost whatever pass he wants, because your hands up ain't going to do a whole lot to his pass.
And again, no pocket. We want guys who throw on the run, who throw in weird angles, who throw with their body moving at top speed. And that's what Kyler and Jaden, I think, are really good at. You know, I think with their agility, they make the perfect fit, right? And then, of course, Jahmyr Gibbs, just because of his size, agility, and speed. But yeah, this is my team. I went agility, and speed. And I think for me, you know, I don't have a lot of height here, but I think that disadvantage would play out as the game went on, because I would have still a ton of fast, speedy guys that you can't catch as the game goes on, while the tall guys get tired.
You do have one tall guy. Kyle Hamilton is tall, and Jaden.
Yeah, Kyle Hamilton's tall. He's 6'4", and you know, he could maybe play tight end for me for like a play or two. But yeah, that's my team.
I think height's more about the red zone. Can you have a guy like say you're going up against a tall guy? Can you have a Kyle Hamilton that can be able to guard him? So like at least you have some of that covered.
Yeah, and I thought about taking a tight end, but Dave took them all. You guys will see that later. So Dave wouldn't let me take any tight ends, guys. So
but we did. Everyone did give respect to Justin Jefferson. This is his idea. He's been pushing it. You'll see him on every team. Much respect.
You know that the tight end will make their own.
He absolutely should be on every team.
You know that George Kittle, like, you know, tight end you or whatever, when they all get together and they hang out in the offseason, you know, they're going to make their own flag football team and just like enter it. They'll just be like, we're Team Croatia. We're just going to make it.
Well, we'll get to that later. I put in a special section of who we think should play for other countries. That'll be fun. All right, let's go on to Hype's team. Hype, go ahead.
All right, this is my team, and my team's a little bit different. We have a little bit older stuff. We got Saquon in here because this is a thing. Yes, speed and agility really does matter. But you know what also matters? Spectacular plays. Just like those superstar on Madden, when like the spectacular catch, the like crazy moves. Saquon Barkley, when he does a spin move and then jumps over somebody and then hurdles somebody that's like 6 foot tall. Like those are like in those like little bunches of space when you can do insane things like that. I'm like, Saquon is going to be 31, but I researched this. When do running backs start to run down and lose a little bit of their explosiveness? It's right at 30, right? Like Barry Sanders retired at 30 and had his worst season, kind of, even though it might not have been because of a decline, but it almost always happens. Like if you look at the stats after 30, it's almost never good, other than, you know, and unless you're the running back for the Ravens right now, he's a little bit of a freak. Yeah. If you're Derrick Henry, that's a little bit different because he's just like that one guy that's the exception to the rule. But
by the way, Fresh, I'm still offering you my first round pick next year for King Henry.
I know he's Derrick Henry's not.
Dave wants to win that fantasy. He wants to win that fantasy.
Might be that guy. He might be another Derrick Henry who at 31 still just is explosive. But this is the thing for me. This is like the dream team. This is like 1992 or whatever year it was with the basketball dream team when they brought back Bird and Magic and all that stuff, right? And all these guys that were retired and they played awesome, right? So I'm like, you know what? Saquon might retire around now, but like Saquon is going to be like doing amazing stuff. They're going to like watching the Olympics and seeing Saquon do like a backflip over somebody into the end zone. That's going to happen. I guarantee it 100%, right? And so that's the thing about my team. Lamar Jackson, when you see him, this video of him playing against teenagers in flag football, and he already looks like just messing around, but almost better than Team USA's guys like juking people. He looks so amazing doing it. And I'm like, that's what I want to see. When I turn the Olympics, I want to see these guys doing plays where you're just blown out of your mind. Yeah. And then if there's other guys on the team that are like not NFL players, can they reach that level? Can they also do superstar plays? Because then the whole world will just be on fire. They'll be like, who are these guys? They're so awesome. And so if you look at my team here, not only is it full of superstars that can make big plays and clutch moments, but the thing is that like I've heavily researched this, that like a lot of these guys like Nico Collins, Patrick Surtain, Xavier McKinney, metrics wise and analytics wise are the best at like what they do, the best at getting open versus man coverage, or the best at cover. Like Xavier McKinney is the best safety when it comes to this man and zone coverage, both of them, right? between two of them. Patrick Surtain is 6'2", and he's like amazing overall at coverage. And that's the thing. So on defense, we've got only a couple guys. It's mostly offense, right? Because like Derek said, I want to be able to rotate guys in. I want Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, who are both going to be older and 28 years old, Nico Collins to rotate in there. And because like when I watch and research these games, guys do get tired later in the game, start making mistakes, start falling over. You got to keep people fresh. And again, having two quarterbacks, right? Similar to Derek's theory there. But that's the big thing for me. I need Jamar Chase. And also, like Derek, like you had it, I have Jamar Chase playing DB, because I want guys on my team like Jamar Chase. It's like I should have the ball every play, even on defense. That's my ball. I'm going to take it and run it back. And I'm like, if I feel like the living embodiment of Jamar Chase, like I don't care where the ball is. I don't care what country we're in. That's my ball, and I'm taking it and I'm going to run it into the end zone. I don't care what the situation is. So that's really my big thing. Plus, like Jahmyr Gibbs and Saquon Barkley, I can rotate them in, keep them fresh for that like running back duo. Because a lot of the plays, guys, are either two things. They're either a long pass or they're a short pass, right? Obviously, but the short pass might be a running back or another quarterback just kind of running out for a little dump pass, right? And those plays, those guys get wide open a lot. They're like completely wide open coming out of the backfield often. The defense.
I want to see like 5 Statue of Liberty plays per game at least.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Especially
like,
if we got Lamar
coming around
dude.
the back. Like imagine Lamar Jackson like having the ball and you rushing him and he evades you, hands it off to Jaden Daniels, and then runs and is wide open 10 yards downfield, and they just drop the little ball in there, and then he just runs for a touchdown. That's going to be insanely electric and happening all the time. And especially if any of these other guys can throw the ball, like if Saquon can, I've seen videos of Saquon hitting targets in practice. I'm like, can you actually do it? But those plays are going to be electric. This is going to be like 80-79, the final scores for these games. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be insane. And I'm really wondering like what it's going to look like in practice, because they got to get more than 10 guys to practice, right? Say they have a roster of 30 guys they bring in so they can rotate and practice and scrimmage. Like these NFL guys are going to want to be like, I'm better than Jamar Chase. I'm going to show you right now. I'm the best receiver in the NFL, right? I feel like that's going to happen.
Well, and flag skills are a little different than NFL skills. I think maybe at like the wide receiver and DB positions, it might be the same, but like running back wise, tight end wise, because you went similar to me where like, you went for a lot of guys that have ball skills over like size, right?
All these guys can catch the ball really well.
Yeah.
Like Jahmyr Gibbs and Barkley are rated in the top, like whatever percentage for catching and receiving also. Like they're going to be able to catch.
Yeah, you got Yak out there.
I appreciate you putting a Packer in there. I thought about literally putting Edgerrin Cooper in the team, but I was like, he's too young. And I just was like, I'm not putting any true pass rushers or any true linemen or linebackers. I'm going all DB.
Well, the thing is, since you mentioned McKinney is the best coverage safety in the league when you really look down
he's a
on
good call. It was between him and Hamilton for me, but I ultimately chose Hamilton just because of his size. I think the 6'4".
And McKinney's a ball hawk guy who makes big plays. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like that kind of dude.
No, you can't go wrong. Honestly, those two would be amazing together. What were you going to say?
And he's good at run defense too, all the things.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Dave.
I only see one gap on your team. I see a Lion, a Viking, a Packer.
But no Bears.
No Bear.
You know, it's funny.
I can have a winning team without a Bear.
Wise decisions then.
There's no running
holes
you have to go
without
through.
A Bear on my team.
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift would be amazing on your team. As long as there's no real running holes that he has to read.
But
Odunze, fantastic athlete, he just can't read blocks.
So while doing this research, I did find out that Odunze is really good at contested catches. Like he actually graded out really well last year.
Yeah, he was 70% in college.
Dude, and honestly, guys, Caleb, 3 years from now, maybe Caleb's the front runner over Lamar Jackson. You know, Lamar's going to be a little older. Maybe he's not as fast. Like I know Caleb isn't the most. I don't think
Caleb can like evade these type speed guys though.
Yeah,
I mean,
but he does throw like kind of off kilter. I think Dave, what was the reason you weren't going to take Caleb on your team?
Because he has 7 seconds before he gets sacked, and he'll still get sacked because
he'll still wait.
He won't know where to throw. That's what I'm saying. You got to be fast, and you got to be able to get the ball out fast, like quick decision.
Oh man, yeah, that's not Caleb's skill right now.
This actually might be a good training ground for NFL quarterbacks. They should be playing games like this where you have to just quickly get the ball.
Let's see what Chief put on his team. I want to see how he fit a freaking Chicago Bear in there.
Boom, there we go.
There he is.
Tight ends do it for me, baby.
Everybody plays tight end. Kyler Murray tight end. Kyle Pitts
Kyle
tight end.
Pitts, phenomenal athlete. He graded like
Yeah.
a 99 relative athletic score coming out of University of Florida. It doesn't work in the NFL game because they have two safeties. You can't beat linebackers. But in this kind of arena, I think being 6'6" and fast can be huge. You have a lot more space, for those over the shoulder catches. Colston Loveland, he's athletic. He's a bear. I still wish we would have taken the other guy, but you got to give some love for the hometown team. He's 6'5", he's fast. He's a great guy because his high school coach said he'll do anything that you ask him to. He has no problem doing screens and whatnot. So this team, I kind of built them thinking of Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, and Reggie Miller. So Barkley and O'Neal, they just kind of back it up in the post. They're going to be ugly, and they're just going to be setting screens for Reggie all day. So you can have Travis Hunter on one side, or you can have Justin Jefferson on the other side. They can be running across those shallow routes, getting those screens, pop them open. And if that isn't open, then you can have Pitts do a fly route off of the deep end. So it's good. It's going to be ugly. You're not going to see the 65-yard touchdown plays that you guys have envisioned.
Yeah.
But you're just going to see a lot of first downs. These guys can't be stopped. This is just a mean machine. Kyle Murray, I think he's a fantastic option. And just like the 1992 Dream Team, I had to have one guy who's basically out of college. So I took Jalen Milroe as a second quarterback, So this way you can do some fun plays with him. And,
Him and
Kirby,
Kyler Murray kind of look alike a little bit there.
They are very ugly. Yes.
Yeah. Jeez.
No, but yeah, and here I like the height. I wanted to go for safeties and cornerbacks just so that way you can get, switch between man or zone coverage, and you can have Kyle Pitts or Colston Loveland. They can be your rusher, because they're 6'5", 6'6", so they can have that huge height out there.
Yeah.
They're quick enough. George Kittle, he's older. Man, he's just a
man. He's going to be 34, man.
Oh yeah,
he might be retired from the NFL.
But he's a team captain. He's doing WrestleMania.
Yeah.
He's the madman out there motivating all these young guys.
Yeah, he's like the player coach.
He's like, come on,
dude.
Yeah, he's the Pete Rose. He's the player coach. He'll bet on them to win every freaking game.
Dude, I worry about your exhaustion because Colston Loveland's going to have to play defense, and then I can see Kyle Pitts doing it, but Colston Loveland and George Kittle on defense just terrifies me that they're going to get smoked on
one of them will play safety, the other one will play the rusher. They can alternate so that way they don't get too gassed.
I can see it. I do like the Kirby Joseph shout though. Instead of Gibbs, you went for Joseph from Detroit. I think he's an underrated player, even though he's dirty and Packer fans hate him. He's still a good player. Yeah. He's a good player.
That's part of the reason I liked him too, is when Hype started whining about him, I'm like, all right, he's Chuck Cecil. To which Hype assured me Chuck Cecil was very clean in all of his.
Chuck Cecil's never committed a penalty.
In the back.
No, Chuck Cecil has never committed a penalty after the whistle.
They never changed any rules because of him or nothing.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, when you look at PFF, Kirby Joseph was right at the top as far as
him and McKinney were very kind of right there.
No, I really like the Kyle Pitts shout, Dave. I think Kyle Pitts is a guy that's going to make the team just because he's so fast and quick. I thought about DK Metcalf too, but he's not good at jump balls, right? Like we talked about that.
Surprisingly.
Yeah, I know he should be. Kyle Pitts is. George Kittle obviously is really good at those, right? We'll see, how Loveland fails at it. But I worry a little bit about your defense, but I love that you got Hamilton and Joseph.
I mean, if you want to put Loveland or a tight end as a safety back there, and I've got guys that can run like a 4.25 on my team,
and Milroe is such an athlete. Don't sleep on Milroe being really good at defense or playing the rush.
That's true.
His speed. Do you know what I mean? I like the Jalen Milroe shout. I just don't know if he's going to have the clout because I think a lot of older guys are going to want to get in. And honestly, dude, I wouldn't be surprised if Kittle did make the team if he was all about it and pushed for it. Because the Dream Team guys, think about it. They were all older guys at that point. Yeah. Other than Jordan, he was one of the youngers. You know what I mean? So they were later 30s, mid 30s guys. Malone was almost 30, I think, at the time. And you got and the NFL obviously doesn't have as long of a lifespan as an NBA career, but I don't think there's going to be a bunch of 24-year-olds or 25-year-olds running out there. There's going to be some 30-year-old football players that want to legitimately win an Olympic medal.
Yeah.
And they're going to have the clout to say, hey, I want to be on this team. So I like it, even though I think you're ridiculous. I think this is never going to happen. So I think there's zero chance that Loveland
This
and
is like the
Pitts
beer
and
league
Kittle are on the
version.
team.
This
I
is
think
the
there's
beer league
Could you
version.
imagine-
zero.
the greatest dream team would have had Patrick Ewing at center, Hakeem Olajuwon at small forward, and then David Robinson at power forward.
And what? Shaq's
That's what
playing
this
point?
team would be. Yeah, or Shaq or Ewing in
At
at
point
center.
guard.
Like the Jordans, the Birds, the Pippins, the Magics. Nobody wants to see that. It's all about the meat.
All right, fair enough.
Well,
Dave loves tight ends and meat. We know what he's trying to say, folks. He's not even
yeah,
hiding
he
it
gave us a
anymore.
whole story about playing
Yeah.
center and tickling things. Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next one. Let's see what
All
else
right.
we got here. Because we're okay. So who has the best team? If anybody watches this, who's got the best team? Not Dave. We know.
Hey,
Just let
we
us
have
know
like
who did
5
the best.
subscribers, I think. Okay, guys.
Every tight end in America should watch this, Dave. What do we learn that interests us? Dude, I learned that even though the quarterback can't run, they absolutely can. They just don't have
Oh,
to
yeah.
take the snap. There's all kinds of creative ways you can go around it. That was my favorite thing I learned. What about you, Hype?
Yeah, I think what I learned is that this is explosive and fun to watch, actually. Like, it's not,
Yeah.
I feel like watching this more than I like watching soccer or like other sports, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it was actually fun to watch the Team USA and the explosiveness, the quick hips, all the exciting plays that we're looking for in football. Like, and then I watched like the NFL flag football, like during the Pro Bowl, and that was so boring. But this format and how they made it made me realize like this is actually pretty exciting. And there's pro leagues popping up around the world and stuff. So
Yep.
who knows where this goes? Like, this is kind of more of a real news story than I thought.
I agree, dude. What about you, Dave?
This was just an absolute blast. And I obviously I think there's big guys have a place in the world, but you can get so creative and whatnot. I just want to share one play real quick.
All
I
right, we
think
got to
it'd be
go to
kinda
Dave's
fun.
play corner.
We
All
got to
right,
go
let's
to
you
your
got-
play, Dave.
Gotta go to the old John Madden cam right here. Let me just
All
show
right.
you real quick.
You
here we
gotta
go.
present.
Science with Dave.
Sponsored by Tough Actin' Tinactin.
God damn it. All right, let's see this play. And he goes
All right.
here. He goes wham, boom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And here's a tight end, and here's a tight end. You slip it right in between.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
So every color is a tight end, folks. In case you were wondering, every color means tight end.
Purple's tight end. Purple is the
Yes.
power tight end.
Yeah, purple
Teal
tight
is
end,
the
blue
tall
means tight end.
So
Oh,
the
man.
idea-
Orange is the
here-
H-back.
Oh, yeah, the idea here is you can have either Justin Jefferson or Travis Hunter be on the outside. You'll have them go into motion, so that way when the ball is snapped to Kyler right here, he can hand off, so that way you have to honor the run that's going to be coming over here to the left side. Meanwhile, you have the other speedy wide receiver. He's just going to be doing a drag route. Right here, you have Colston Loveland. He's just going to be doing a little button hook right here, aka screen. You have George Kittle. He's going to snap it. He's just going to run, do a quick little rub right there, and then he's going to come out here. So that way, the coverage right here, they have to be looking at Justin Jefferson, honoring that run. They're going to sneak up behind. Meanwhile, you can have your quarterback, Kyler Murray. He can just kind of run a route over here, and then he can go right back over the middle. So there's lots of options out here, whether you're running a man or his own. And this is just the fun ridiculousness of it all.
Dude,
Yeah, I
wanna
have
see
one
tons
too,
of
but
trick
it's just
plays.
guys just going straight and running past Colston Loveland playing safety for a touchdown.
Yeah, exactly. Colston Loveland just is like, I
I
didn't
don't need to
there was a guy
write it
there.
out for you. It's just go that way.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for sharing
That's all.
science time with Dave, everybody. That's the science of tight end only football for you guys. All right. Is USA gonna win the gold? Hype.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think so,
The thing
too.
is, even if you just rolled out current Team USA, we'd still probably beat.
Yeah,
whatever
exactly.
teams.
Team USA would win the gold. Now, do we dominate? Do the NFL players dominate this competition?
Well,
the big
I
teams?
watched the other teams that and of course these other teams might start getting better, practicing. They might get NFL players on
They
their
might
team.
get NFL players.
The
Yeah.
only way they can compete is if they got to get like 4 or 5 NFL players, or maybe former college players that were really, really fast.
Yeah.
And they might be skinny, or they just something happened and it didn't work out in the NFL. Look at Bull Melton on the Packers. That guy's really athletic and fast, right? And he's just on the practice squad. So guys like that exist, which actually Team USA kind of is. A lot of them are former like NFL players. So if you can get more of those guys going to other foreign countries, or maybe they are from there, like it could be competitive. So we might have a situation like Team USA hockey, against Russia, where some foreign country just practices their butt off. Maybe they get the Jamaican bobsled team guys and they play flag football. You
Yeah,
know,
I think the USA will dominate certain countries, but I think there's going to be a lot of countries
Jamaica, go Jamaica, man.
that can play. And we'll talk about this in a little bit, but what if Kyler and Kyle Hamilton play for South Korea? Like
Yeah.
those are two guys I picked for my team. Like if they're on the South Korean team, that team's going to be tough.
Kyle Hamilton
what I mean?
mentioned that he would choose Korea maybe over the United States.
Yeah, I mean,
sure.
more power to him, dude. Like it's a guaranteed slot. Like I guarantee you, no one in Korea is like, maybe we should take Kyle Hamilton. You know what I
They're
mean?
like, we're not
we
sure.
are. Yeah, he's
And
guaranteed a slot.
Imagine the sponsorship deals in South Korea.
Oh,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Are
you
dude, I
kidding
wouldn't
me?
blame him. I wouldn't blame
Oh,
him.
yeah.
So,
What if
okay,
South Korea becomes like how Japan is for the Dodgers, and they just like go hardcore
Yeah.
into football?
I mean, and dude, Canada might give some citizenship to some of our players just to like screw us over and be like,
Chase
hey, are they a
Brown
real
from
threat?
the Bengals, their running back is
Mapletron,
Canadian.
aka Mapletron. I know there's a decent amount of Canadian football players, not necessarily,
And they have the
skilled
CFL.
but yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, dude. I mean, Canada could be a legit threat. Like at this seems like a
What
competition
about
that
arena
Canada
football
would be
players
decent
too? There's a lot of
Yeah.
football players out
at.
there.
Now, other than us, who's Kim Jong Il going to recruit? Dennis Rodman,
Michael Vick.
Michael Vick, half of the Kansas City Chiefs. After their parole comes
Taylor
up.
Swift.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know if Taylor will do it, but like
I don't
I
think
don't know,
she'd
but I'm
do
like,
it.
Katy
you know,
Perry, though.
He'd try.
Yeah, maybe Katy
Scottie
Perry.
Pippen, 100% Scottie Pippen's on that team.
Scottie Pippen. playing for North
Scottie
Korea.
Pippen's disgruntled.
Steven Seagal.
He's got something to prove, you
Oh
know?
man, yeah. And then of course, what players might play for other countries? I think that's going to be interesting. Again, if Hamilton goes to South Korea, I don't blame him. There's a lot of guys that have multiple citizenships and things like
And
that.
the big dual citizenship's a big thing now. Countries want
It
these
is,
guys
dude.
to
If
come
you can
over.
get free
Saudi
dual
Arabia,
citizenship and
the Middle East.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I think there's going to be countries out there asking certain NFL players to play. Maybe not a lot, but like I think certain countries are going to do it.
Middle
for
Eastern
sure.
countries will definitely throw money at people and be like, "Hey, get a dual citizenship and play for us in the Olympics."
Yeah, I think it's
Why
going to
not?
happen. I think there's going to be at least a dozen or so NFL players that get dual citizenship, and then again, there's going to be another dozen that already have it that probably play. So that's again why I don't think the USA is going to dominate every game. I think there's going to be some games they do, but I think there's going to be a lot of teams out there that have talented guys on those teams. And
what about Australia with like rugby players who are
Yeah,
fast? They come
dude,
in the NFL all the
Australia,
time.
look out, man. They could be really good at this, right? They could be really good.
They kind of already do this. They don't throw the forward pass quite as much, but they're really good.
No, I'm actually kind of excited for flag football. I'm really glad they did this because I would have watched it anyway at the Olympics, but like now that it's NFL players, like I'm watching like every game. Do you know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
want to watch every game now.
This is
So-
your chance for an Olympic gold medal. Like getting the NFL Super Bowl championship, the Lombardi Trophy is really hard. You could have
Dude.
like your center on your team, like Olin Kreutz gets hurt, and all of a sudden, or like from the Raiders, their center that went off to Mexico before the Super
Yeah.
Bowl and they lost it. There's so many elements. And it's so difficult to win a Super Bowl, but this is 5 guys on offense and defense, and it kind of makes it so you feel like it's much more like it's in your hands, in your own
and
hands.
This was a big reason why I think Justin Jefferson was pushing for it. If your talent is being a football player, you had no avenue to win a gold medal. Baseball has their championships,
Or a Super Bowl
basketball
if you're the
players,
Vikings.
hockey players, tennis players, like all these other major sports, golf even, have a chance to win a gold medal. Football players never had that chance. So now they have a chance. And there's going to be guys that want that gold medal. There's going to be a lot of guys interested.
His trophy case is empty
And-
right now, so Justin Jefferson
Yeah.
definitely wants that gold medal.
I mean, that's the only trophy he's ever going to get. We all
there's
know
going to
it
be
if he
so
stays
many
in
memes
Minnesota.
about this.
Yeah, and dude, I love this for Jefferson because that's the one thing I do want him to win. So and nothing else. So
And
yeah.
but this is the thing, like these players that right now are saying, I'm not sure. Lamar Jackson's like, oh, just let those other guys do it. Once the Olympics comes around, it might be a totally different story. It'll be
there's
3
going to
years
be a
from
lot
now.
of people that want to get on that team. And
The
win a
Olympics will
gold
be
medal.
hype. It'll be
dude.
exciting.
It's 100%. I guarantee you, there's going to be hundreds.
And the Olympics don't want to be known as like the battle dancing, break dancing, retarded, like weirdo vibe that was happening in the last Summer Olympics. You know what I mean? Like,
Nope.
do you remember that? It overshadowed skateboarding and all this other stuff. They want to be known for something.
Oh,
funny
you mean the
Oh,
dancing
what's her
lady?
face?
Yeah,
the whole
yeah.
like the Australian breakdancing. Yeah.
yeah.
So they're gonna want to have this be the Olympics where it's like NFL superstars, cool moments. They want to feel cool.
Sure. I can see that, and the fact that it's in Los Angeles, just
It's
makes
in
it
Los
bigger, baby.
Angeles. It's gonna
Yeah.
like this might be the premier thing in the Olympics period by the time we get around
Oh,
to
it's
it.
going to be huge when it comes out. Yeah, it's going to be huge. Yeah, I
Guys
think
talking
so.
trash, and it's gonna be right before like training camp.
Yeah.
So like it's gonna be the lead up towards the NFL season when we're already kind of talking about it a little bit.
Yep.
It's gonna be like perfect timing.
Yep. 2028 flag football. Here we come. All right, guys, that was a great episode, and we're back to predictions next week. We're gonna do the NFC South, guys, so that's gonna come soon on our next episode. Thanks for stopping by, Tight End U, and we'll see you next time.
Have a good one.
Oh yeah. We'll see you next time, and bring your it's foosball, not flag foosball.